Hey healers, welcome back or welcome to my channel. This is Sarada Muladhara, the rootchakragoddess. We are tuning in for our free root work class. This is a class on root chakra healing with my methods, unorthodox methods that really work to actually break these generational curses, not perpetuate them ad infinitum. So thank you for tuning in. Welcome. Welcome. If you're here, drop your city, drop your zodiac sign. Welcome to the chat. Say mashallah. So let's get ourselves started. Let's get ourselves situated. Everybody grab some something to drink, some thing that makes you comfortable. I already did my tapping and my modalities for resetting my nervous system, and these conversations can be pretty intense, so you want to be well resourced when you get into them. Even still, they can be pretty challenging. So I did a live stream on the truth about Palestine yesterday, and it was so triggering for me. Honestly, I've been so triggered, so triggered. My work is breaking generational curses, and one of the biggest generational curses against my people, is just right in front of everybody's face right now, and it's very overwhelming. The powerlessness that I feel. I want to break something. So it's good to go on here. No, I'm not alone, and you guys are here with me. So I felt so triggered. I took the Truth About Palestine video down, but I put it in my app. So if you guys join my course, you'll be able to have access to it. But this is the thing. One of the things that is really important for me with my work, because I train other psychic mediums. I'm a psychic medium coach. I train spiritual workers. I train people that are professional spiritual workers. I train people that are doing spiritual work for themselves and their family. And so one of the things that's sometimes challenging about our work is that it's constant. You don't really get to take a break from it. You never know when you're getting downloads. You never know when you're going to have a psychic vision or a moment of remembering that just completely destabilizes you. And this is why we meditate. This is why we do mindfulness practices and whatever things that we do on a regular basis, so that when we have crisis situations and we're really overwhelmed, we can actually deal with them. But even still, sometimes it's not going to be up to your own standards. It's not going to be, as polished or as perfect or as hinged as you want. Because I say hinged, like the opposite of unhinged. It's not going to always be as close together as you want it to be when your authentic expression is coming out after however many millennia of repression and silencing and violent silencing. Because what we're talking about is violent silencing of the truth and suppression of the truth. And there's certain things that, it seems like we can have this wide variety of discourse in this country, and all these different things are constantly discussed. But the narratives are kind of on certain tracks, and if you get off of those tracks, then there's an issue. And as a Palestinian person, my track of thinking and my track of processing and relating to the world has always been one that is kind of not really accepted in this country and in the media. And if you look at media representations of Palestinians, we're represented very one-dimensionally. We're represented as enemies, as terrorists, as people that do bad things to other people. Women are oppressed. And so that's why, for me as a Palestinian person that's moving around outside of my community, because it's not common for Arab women to be in the mix with other people. Usually we're with our own people. So typically, if you find an Arab woman that's out there in the mix, even if she's in the professional realm, if she's moving in life outside of her own community, outside of the household that she was born into, she is doing something. She's breaking curses. She's moving in such a way that is rare for people of her bloodline, and there's a reason why. And there's a reason why it's her doing it too. So this is me, you guys, official Palestinian princess. And the way that I've moved through my life has been so insane. And it's what's equipped me to teach what I teach. It's amazing to see how the journey has led me here. So with my different careers and bodies of expertise and experiences from being in, going through K through 12 education in the United States, going to college, fine arts degree, becoming an artist, a community-based artist, a writer for community-based publications, a community organizer, activist, going into becoming an adult entertainer, professional in that realm, moving through these different realms, and then going into healing. That pipeline is real, from like sex worker, community organizer, healer. It's many of us that have occupied those spaces, and so that is the primary bulk of the audience that I'm speaking to. Drop some emojis if that's you, if that describes you. And everybody else, you're welcome here too. But I really know very specifically who my audience is, because I know the majority of y'all personally, and I've had some personal interaction with y'all in some way. So I'm glad that you're here. This is great for us to be able to have this convo. And I really want to hear from you guys. And I decided that this is a live conversation. There's a live chat going. And I'm not going to be blocking any comments or commentators, because I feel that sometimes we might take offense to something and think that that is wrong and it shouldn't be shared. But it's not really necessarily a difference, whether it's a positive comment or a negative comment. The energy might be the same, the intent might be the same, and that person deserves just as much of a platform to speak, honestly, because why not? The chat is open. We're talking about taboo topics that people don't really get the chance to talk about enough. And even if it's offensive, it's better to say it and get it out than have it stuck in your throat, informing your actions. Because what our actions are ruled by is our unconscious mind, and the things that we say when we're just blurting things out and not thinking is coming from our unconscious mind versus your intellectual mind. You can train your intellectual mind to say the right things and know what to say and do, or how to talk to people or interact with people in a way that's going to manipulate them into feeling safe and comfortable with you. And that's a form of warfare and power and control dynamics against other people. People use these tactics all the time when they speak with others to control how they're perceived. And one of the things that I was digging into with the conversation about Palestine that was so triggering for me is that for women like me, a lot of times our way of manipulating the situation is to be extra accommodating and beautiful and loving and understanding and validating. And that is also a form of control of the situation, especially when it's not authentic. Because in the case of me, like, of playing that role, being that persona, and not knowing any better because it's how I was groomed into it, and then seeing that the results of it didn't give me what I needed. They actually got my needs diminished and not met. And so, yeah, you don't meet other people's needs. You don't meet your needs by meeting other people's needs first. You have to meet your needs first, and that includes needs for connection. So for me, having needs of connection and needs of safety, and expressing them through my work, because you should be able to express yourself and express your needs through your professional work, no matter who you are. And that should be a place where you can be yourself and be safe. And for a lot of people, working for yourself affords you that more so than working for somebody else, when you have to work in an environment where there's microaggressions, where you have, like, predatory hiring practices or pay scales, sexual harassment that's race-based. We're going to get into, like, some of the different aspects of racism, because this is multi-layered. But when you have had experiences where you've been strategically disenfranchised in the workplace for your race and ethnicity, and this looks different for everybody, so I'm not labeling any specifics as far as how that happens right now, then it can be so freeing to run your own business and not have to worry about that. But then the thing is that you might still also be dealing with clientele that you have to navigate these situations with. And this is where it got tricky for me, of creating enough safety and comfortability in my business where I didn't have to play pretend at all, and I could just completely drop all of those pretenses of like accommodating others. And it really started in 2020. So I'm gonna get into the whole story, because my current incarnation of how I'm looking at this stuff really started in 2020 when I started to notice the media manipulation. So basically, as a psychic medium, I can sort of look and see a little further ahead to how this is all gonna play out. Like what's happening now and what's being said now will be used in the future. And so I've been predicting a race war 2025 for the past few years, which is basically it's a race war that is being planned. Okay, so I'm basically spilling military secrets, you guys. They don't want us to know. You're not supposed to know. This is not declassified information. But I know it, and they're like, how does she know this stuff? And this is why a lot of psychic mediums are targeted. Is psychic mediums on YouTube, like people that are putting this message out there to the people are going to be targeted strategically for different forms of silencing, and like diminishing. And it's very, very specific. It's really, really specific to the platform, to the way that you're silenced, what you're silenced for. So it's all in a way to try to take power away from the core essence of who you are. And the more you can be aware of this and look at it in its face and name it, then you don't have to feel as disenfranchised by it, because you know what it is. So it's harder, I think, when you don't know what's going on and it feels confusing and it's like, what am I doing wrong? Realize that if you're a member of a sacred bloodline that is being stalked throughout the world for extinction, then you're going to have some of these problems. And it doesn't matter whether you're white or black, those things are fake. Even Asian, Arab, Latino, whatever, those things are all fake. So our discussion of race and racism is predicated on a more ancient scale of race. So human beings didn't always look like this. We've gone through major transformations throughout all of time and space to be what we are now. And one of the things that's been happening in the past several generations is that we've been like excessively primed for slavery. And this has really been going on since like the beginning of like the 100s, when they started measuring the time in AD, from AD to BC. These are the time periods that this like slave encoding has been going on. So because one of the things in the United States is that what's happening here is they're now trying to orchestrate a new era of race encoding, which would make the races Asian, Black, Jewish. And I don't think that I think that in this racial encoding, they do not have intentions for like anybody that are outside of those groups to exist. But the funny part is that what will happen, just like what happens whenever there's any type of racial stratification, is that people will pretend and they will move into other classifications than what they're specifically, like what they were born into, what they're intended to be. All right, so y'all feel me? Y'all with me? Who's here? Let's chat. Let's chat. I wanted to keep this conversation on YouTube versus Facebook and Instagram because I don't feel like it's a conversation we can have over there. And the reason why these conversations get shut down so easily is because of the people that are enforcing the dialogue narrative being very, very like one-dimensional. So that's why for here, these comments are open. You can say whatever you need to say, and don't worry about it sounding ignorant. You are all here to learn, and nobody knows what they don't know. The most common way of doing training on racism, diversity training, is very much like one person being an expert and schooling other people on what they don't know. And in my perspective, everyone is an expert on their own experience of race. Everyone is affected by racism. Everyone is affected by racism. This is something people hate to hear me say that. A lot of people hate to hear me say that, especially the people that think that they're most affected by racism. Everybody's affected by racism. How? Oh, I can't even tell you how. It goes so deep. You're gonna have to sit with me for like at least 13 hours, which is which is like what you would get in Root Lock and more. Hi guys, hi. You're gonna have to sit with me through Root Lock if you really want me to break down like how racism affects everybody. Everyone has a race. Everyone has a lineage, and it's very specific to that individual and their family. And like I was saying before, like everybody knows like black, white, Asian, Latino, Arab, whatever. They don't know the specific bloodlines. All right. So, for example, Israel versus Palestine. Oh my God, Jews and Palestinians are so different. No, they're not. They're the same people. All of them didn't immigrate from Europe. Some of them were already there. Some of them immigrated from other places. Not only that, we're nomadic people, and it's right by the coast. People are coming and going all the time. And that's how the whole entire world has been throughout all of time. It's rare to have a people that stay where they're at, but some people do. Why? Because every lineage is different. So one lineage sails throughout the world, the other lineage just sails through the small area, just fishing. Another lineage like goes to other places to conquer them. The other lineage is like peaceful and has no way of defending themselves. Some lineages want to be by themselves and they fight off everyone else that tries to come there. And people try and they try and they try to do whatever different things that they want to do. It's just like regular people, everyday people. It's just on a macrocosm. So if you guys are here and you're feeling this conversation, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps my channel. I really appreciate that. And make sure you subscribe. I want to hear from you. Please, please, please. Let's chat. Let's chat. Talk to me. All right. So one of the things I found as a Palestinian person is that people really didn't understand how racism affected me. And I didn't even understand how racism affected me. And not only that, but I don't want it to affect me. So I've done a lot of things to like hide from that reality. So it's been kind of painful in the past couple weeks of what's really been hitting me of the reality of that pain. And looking beautiful, being happy, doing what I want to do, like it doesn't change things for a lot of the other people that are connected to me. It doesn't change anything for them. And me knowing the truth of everything behind this and like being able to be detached and look at it from like a higher perspective of why it's happening and how long it's been being planned for, it doesn't make it feel better. Part of us being human is feeling that pain. And so from a spiritual perspective, when we collectively experience racism or discrimination or genocide, there's something there that we are attracted to and we're addicted to. And with Palestinians, one of those things is the self-sacrifice. We're attracted to that sacrifice. We're attracted to the idea that we may not be there anymore, that we would have to die for something. We're attracted to the pain because it's already in us. Because like I was saying before, we were created as a sacrificial bloodline, a lot of us, because human beings have been bred just like dogs. And that's very harsh for a lot of people to hear, but how could it not be true? Just look at it. How could it not be true? And so for a lot of people of my lineage, we were bred to be sex goddesses. We were bred as a lineage of sex goddesses turned sex slaves. Concubines. We're coming from a time where it wasn't all this political correctness. It was just very cutthroat. And the world is still like that. It's just hiding behind a veil of positivity and professionalism, but it's still very cutthroat. So that's why certain things are set up to where it seems like, well, damn, why can't I succeed at this one thing, because certain things are literally stacked against you. And then that when they've been stacked against you throughout generations, then it becomes a mental program where you keep yourself from even trying because you don't believe in it. So your generations have never been able to have a house. They've been kicked out every time. You feel like you can't have a house, and you make decisions that make it so. And then the one thing that'll happen is that a lot of people will be able to go through Section 8. They'll be able to go through the government to have a house, but that's because they're going through the government. They're not able to do it sovereignly. So we're made to be dependent, and then people become reliant on that, and they don't want to stop. So they're inherently complicit in that what they're fighting against. So take a drink of water. It can be pretty frustrating because it's like, how do I get out of this mess? Not without a fight. Not without a fight. That's all I'm gonna say. How do I get out of this mess? Not without a fight. I'm feeling called to pull a tarot card. So the tarot has a message for us. I really haven't been doing much tarot like the past year for you guys because I've been focused on channeling. It's been going great, but I love the tarot too. The Five of Pleasers, that's the Five of Cups. Exactly. The Five of Cups, the spilled milk. We're too focused looking back behind us at the cups that have already spilled that we can't even see the Two of Cups. The two cups that are still upright, and that's the Two of Cups, and that's the new beginning in a relationship. Love is what solves this. Because one of the huge issues that was causing my freaking meltdown in my live stream yesterday was the fact of how these curses have affected our relationships and our ability to give and receive love. And it's not fair. They've taken away the one thing that cures everything from us, and that's love. And these curses and the entities that have created these curses on earth to enslave humans know that. They know the power of love. They know how they can control someone with a shut down heart and how much they can't control someone whose heart is lit up. So we're at a very, very vital and important integration point for humanity. This is when the divine feminine energy awakens on earth and comes back online. We're seeing it happen. This is the fundamental issue of racism. It's actually an energy polarity issue. It's masculine energy dominating feminine energy, and instead of letting it flow. And so now we're seeing the reversal of this. And I've been preparing for this. I've been preparing for this for the past 6 years. And I've been telling everybody, do your shadow work. Gosh, boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. If I didn't do that shadow work, I would be fucked up right now. The Ten of Wands. It's a burden. It is a fucking burden. This is a sex worker tarot deck. So it's all illustrations of baddies from our community by the Raging Fembot. So we're putting the burden down. And that is part of what entails a lot of people quitting leaving the adult industry, because these curses are bound up together. All the curses that I'm speaking about in this class are bound up together. Racism, Reiki. Reiki is not exactly a curse, but it's the curse that I'm speaking about is the curse of spiritual slavery. So I might change the name of that one because I haven't really spoken on that yet. And I might do another. I might do another video later about the truth about Reiki, but I think I need to speak directly to the spirit of the curse of spiritual slavery tomorrow. That's where this curse is. It's all bound up together. racism, spiritual slavery, slavery as a concept. Spiritual slavery is part of that. Sex work, sex slavery is part of that. And then I'm going to tell you guys about how we break these curses. And even if you don't decide to join Root Lock, still tune in because it's going to help answer a lot of questions. And I am going to be giving away one free pass to Root Lock for a special winner at the end of this series. So I'll be announcing that in the live stream, The Truth About Root Lock on 11:01. That's Ancestors Day. And so I invite you guys to join the contest. Look to my Instagram for the rules. Look to a post on here for the rules. And pray, invite your spirit guides and your ancestors in, and may the most aligned frequency win. I know it will. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's time to take your burdens and set them on down. And this is why we got the 5 of Cups and the 10 of Wands. So let's see what's next. So what's going to happen? Because the thing is that before your burdens can be lifted, you have to set them down. And this is the thing about racism that a lot of people don't want to hear is like, you have to change it yourself. And there's a lot that goes into that. Like, for example, how are you personally benefiting from it? If a person's receiving mutual aid because they're promoting that they're a queer, Black, trans artist, struggling artist, and they're dependent on a lot of other people to give them mutual aid, then it's going to be really hard for that person to break the curse of racism and stop experiencing racism because they're dependent on the construct of racism in order to survive and make money. And so then what would happen is, as that person is breaking that curse, they might have a period, a transitional point of like not having enough money. And that might be really hard. The reason why there's a transitional point of not having enough money is because if you're gaining your wealth in one frequency and then you change, you alter your frequency, then that wealth that you were gaining is not there anymore. You're on a new frequency and you have to allow in new wealth resonance, which could happen instantly. But what makes it hard for that to happen instantly is the subconscious mind rewiring. And that it takes time, or it can happen instantaneously. But it's just very important to be able to quickly allow yourself to conceive of a reality in which you don't need to base your survival on a struggle that is hurting you. And it's complicated because people are like, how am I supposed to get out of it when I'm experiencing it right now? Because you have to basically be moving from the future. You have to construct a future self that is not experiencing that hardship, and then you have to move from that place, because you'll only be able to create the same situation and the same environment from the current environment. So you have to basically astral project into the future and see yourself there and create it from there, because you can't create it from here because you don't know what to create. Let me know if that makes sense, you guys. This is a class, so I'm teaching here. I'm teaching, and part of my teaching style is through lecturing. Okay. Because like the thing with racism and solving racism is that for most, I'm not gonna say most people, but some people, they want revenge, they want power. So it's a different approach and a different outcome than a person that wants peace and harmony. And we all could potentially have tendencies of both within us. There's nothing that exists in this earth that doesn't exist in all of us. So, for example, people might not like it when other people are racist against them, but they might feel happy and free and like they're having fun when they're being racist against somebody else. So what that mean? Okay. 3 of Pleasers. The 3 of Cups. You know, this is interesting because I'm reading this as having more than enough. The 3 of Cups is a card of celebration, and sometimes it can indicate a third party situation, which is, in the context of race, it's like, who, people are always like, I don't have a dog in this fight, I don't care about who wins, Israel versus Palestine or whatever. Well, who might not have a dog in the fight but still be having a vested interest in it? A lot of people, a lot of organizations and entities. Okay. That could be on the sinister side, as in the case of this war, or it could be on the positive side, as in the case of people that aren't directly involved with your life, but they still want to see you win. Okay. That's so cute. It's so wholesome. So see, she's got three shoes. She only needs two, but she has three because in this deck the cups are represented by the pleasers. Pleaser shoes. Stupid shit. So she's got more than enough. That's what this is representing here. Like you put those burdens down and you have more than enough. The fight is over. The fight is over. So now for those who are ready to let down that fight and move on and move through it, there are resources available. That's what I teach in my course. We do your galactic priestess activation. We bring and ground that energy into your earthly body. I'm obviously not the most grounded or down to earth person that you'll meet. So, however, I'm extremely skilled at grounding techniques because of that, because I have to be. And with my root chakra work, I'm extremely skilled at it because I look at and examine the deeply buried, repressed, unconscious issues that are repressed and they're unconscious for a reason because they're too difficult to look at. But I have the ability to look at them, and it's one of my gifts. And I do contain a certain level of darkness um, to my aura, to my being, and to my personality because it's what's needed for me to go where I go and to explore what I explore. So this is me. This is me. I feel that everybody is racist. I don't feel that anybody's not racist because how could you not be? Because it's so much a part of everything to do with this entire social structure. Wow. And then I pulled the world. I was shuffling down here. You guys didn't see. Yeah, the world. This is the ways of the world. I didn't create the world. A lot of times humans blame each other for the ways of the world. It's just like blaming your mom for like her parenting. She's just part of the world. She can't be any better than the world. People can't be any better than the world. But just make sure you stand your ground. A lot of the racism that I experience, people don't want to hear about it. They don't think it's real. They think that it's not as bad as their experiences. But you'll see if you take a look that mass there's a mass genocide of people that are labeled as the same lineage as me that's going on right now. So it would seem like that would be a reason why I would be qualified to know about racism because that's an experience. But the reason why I reject that line of thought is because it is again predicated in separation consciousness, and it's not showing the truth. Is that those people that are in Gaza right now, they're not from the same bloodline as I am. I'm from a different bloodline. That's why I'm not there. And this is hard for a lot of people to understand because within group consciousness and group unity, like we're not the same people though. It doesn't mean that I don't support those. I support those people. I support all people. I love all people because I'm not nationalistic and I'm not ethnocentric. And it doesn't just extend to the other people in my group. It extends to people of all groups. And I don't look at people as being black, being white, being Asian, being Latino or whatever, because I don't know what their lineage is until I find out more about it. I'm really experienced with the lineages that I deal with, and that's always expanding because more people come to me. So a person uh, that has Palestinian lineage and Scottish lineage might come to me and join Root Lock, and then their ancestors draw in a person that has a Scottish lineage and Norwegian lineage, and so then their ancestors draw in another person that has Norwegian and Chilean lineage. Like, I don't know who all is going to come to me through the map of these genetics. It's so beautiful because we do have very strong ancestral ties within our group. Um, so you don't know. And like one of my clients said that she told her family about me and that she was doing ancestral healing work with me, and her family was like, she's not going to help you, she's Palestinian, we're Jewish, she'll not help you, she'll try to work against you. And then when this healer was telling me about that, I was like, I think you guys might have some Palestinian in you though. And then I was like explaining, like, I'm not like that. I am really not like that, because the lineage that I come from doesn't care about stuff like that. We're not a warrior lineage. We are a healer lineage, and we're a peaceful lineage. We're a lineage of priests and priestesses, and this is the ancient lineage that it's like, it's weird. Okay, so I was about to say, this is the ancient lineage that is under attack. They've been trying to kill. We're under attack, but we're under attack in a different way, because each lineage has very specific powers, and then there's specific people within those lineages that enact those powers. And so for us, everything is pretty much flipped upside down. Like if in normal circumstances, you would be heralded as a gifted sex priestess and called upon to hold rights for your whole community to have more fertility and abundance. In this lifetime, you would be systematically denied from that. So you would probably be a refugee. You'd be taken from the land that you're indigenous to. You would be given sexual shame and sexual violence to condition you towards hating your sexuality and not using it freely, or only being able to use it within the bounds of capitalism as a sex worker, or for other people's to exploit yourself for other people. Okay, so we're being studied, we're being examined, we're being used for market research, and then when the time comes, for those people that have been chosen to be the sacrifice, then they're being sacrificed. And a lot of us that survive that, or that don't experience that, still make ourselves into the sacrifice because that's normal and it's already conditional response. And so my work is about interrupting that response and creating a new experience, a new life, and a new timeline in which you're not the sacrifice. You don't have to martyr yourself. You don't even have to experience racism. Because everywhere you go, everybody's happy to see you. They look at your face, they think you're beautiful. They're not judging your features or diminishing you. They're not expecting you to be a certain way based on what they think other people like you are. They're letting you be yourself. They're accepting you for that. And then you have the ability to retain your innocence and your freedom in a timeline in which you're not already being actively discriminated against, disenfranchised, and potentially severely injured or murdered. Only ourselves can free our minds. Only ourselves can interrupt these timelines. They've already been written for us in someone else's story. And these are primarily extraterrestrials that are colonizing Earth. So everybody's blaming everything on white people, and I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, bitch. I don't give a fuck. White people are not my enemy. I'm mixed with white. Can't you tell? To expect me to hate white people and separate myself from them is to expect me to cut apart myself. I would not do that. They've been colonized too. A lot of people of color don't think that, and they don't realize that. And so for me to say the comment that everyone experiences racism and everyone's affected by racism, they would be mad, because they would position themselves as in opposition to white people. And that's what you're seeing a lot with this Palestinian conflict. I can't call it that. It's not. It's a conflict, yeah, because it's freaking conflicting us. But anyways, what you're seeing now with this issue for Palestinians is that it's being positioned as like Israelis as white and Palestinians as people of color, and this is against white people. That's just an easy way for people to talk about it, especially people that have been educated in the United States. Everything's anti-white people, but in reality, Israelis and Palestinians all run the full spectrum of race. That, like, you could look at like any kind of way and still be Israeli and still be Palestinian. Yes, like she said, there are bloodlines within bloodlines within bloodlines within bloodlines too. And like you said, there are different strains of weed and different mixes of people. Exactly. If they can breed, weed, why can't they breed people? Why wouldn't they breed people? But a lot of it that is happening now, people are not conscious of. They get put together by, yes, extraterrestrials. So it's very weird, you guys. This is why I don't care about race the way that normal people do, because I don't look at you as your earthly race. I look at you as your spirit race. So I see the face behind the face. You might be a snake. You might be an alien, different kinds of aliens. You might be a cat. You might be an angel. You might be a demon. You might be a vampire. You might be a fairy. I don't know what you are. Just because your human suit is a certain color. You might be a troll. Yes. Oh yeah. And so like she was saying, so my client was weighing in that she was that client that I was talking about, where, I was like, you might be Palestinian. And then she found out later that her family was like, we're Jewish, but they actually also had this Palestinian Arab origin too. Why? Because it's a freaking same place. It's a freaking same place. I will say more about that later. Um, but she said my family is saying things to cover up their own lineage, just like ex strippers and hoes throw shade at hoes when they were hoes and they know they were hoes. Exactly. The main person that hates on hoes is a former hoe, possibly still popping pussy, and we know this. The main one in the strip club dressing room talking shit about girls doing extras is the main one doing the most extras. And the main people that are racist are being racist to cover up that they actually come from that lineage that they're racist against. And a lot of these are energy signatures. This, you can't lie. Energy doesn't lie. So a person might be like, I'm white, but the Akashic record says otherwise. And there's a truth there that has been hidden because it was advantageous to do so. So, for example, I used to not even tell people in the strip club that I was Palestinian because they always have the most racist, ignorant ass things to say. I would lie. I would make up a different ethnicity that I wasn't, because they would be like, "What are you?" And I would just tell them a whole lie, because I didn't want to have to deal with the fucking conversation that would entail me being Palestinian. If I could talk about it with them and they would be cool, I knew that I could tell them. But a lot of them, you already know. Like, I'm not going to tell you my real ethnicity. I'm not telling you my real name. I'm not telling you shit, because you're just going to dehumanize me, because that's what you're here to do. And so I'm gonna dehumanize you too, motherfucker, and get that check. And so we're gonna be looking into the links between racism and sex work, and slavery and spiritual slavery, and how these are root chakra curses. And by just even having a conversation about these things and bringing them to light in this way, heals so much, releases so much, untangles so much. So imagine what it will feel like to actually do energy work, ritual work, and deeper exploration in my root lock course. It's going to feel very healing if this is something that's resonating for you. So join now or enter our contest to win one free spot. Is going to one very special and very aligned person. It's just one spot that's available, okay? But everybody has a chance to win. So make sure you enter the contest. And I'll put up a post on here that you can see exactly how to enter the contest. So you must be subscribed to my YouTube channel. And there's a few other things that you have to do too. Okay, so let's see. I am 4 to 5 bloodlines that I am discovered through both oral tradition, journaling, and channeling with ancestors. So cool. Yeah, these are things that, like, you're not going to read them in a book. Ancestry.com does not know. You have to ask your ancestors yourself, and they will tell you. I say that even as the holy and the righteous cannot rise beyond the highest, which is in each one of you, so the wicked and the weak cannot fall lower than the lowest, which is in you also. Let me read that one more time. That's a Khalil Gibran quote. That's shared related to the world card and my commentary. And in this world card, like, they're lifting each other up. Do you see that? They're lifting each other up. Okay. It goes perfectly. I say that even as the holy and the righteous cannot rise beyond the highest, which is in each one of you, so the wicked and the weak cannot fall lower than the lowest, which is in you also. Yeah, and this is the thing about being a spiritual leader, someone that's called upon to provide that to other people, is that you're in the field with those people that are following you. So to elevate your frequency requires them to elevate their frequency too. and you can't go any lower than the lowest of them. When we occupy the timeline together, we are on the same timeline. So this is a timeline that I'm choosing to avoid the race war 2025. I'm choosing to not participate, and I'm taking all my energy back from any possibility of participation in it. And I'm leading others to do the same. And I'm not leading to have followers. I'm leading to walk alongside leaders and to move through life that way. That's what I need. So thank you for being here. I'm so glad. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for our next class in the root work series. That is the truth about spiritual slavery. Okay. So we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to talk about the spiritual appropriation, cultural appropriation in the spiritual healing arts. We're going to talk about things related to the shackling of your energy. We're going to talk more about the energy signatures of slavery in the body tomorrow and the next day. We're going to keep letting this conversation unfold organically as it has been. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're catching the replay, make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you like that video, share, subscribe, say mashallah, tell a friend to tell a friend. And as always, stay tuned. Peace, healers. Masalama.